Every morning, before the world tells you who you are, you must tell yourself who you are. Because if you don't program your mind, life will, and life doesn't wait. So when you wake up, don't just reach for your phone, don't just stumble into your day. Stand tall, breathe deep, and speak these 7 lines with absolute conviction. Say them with power, say them until they echo in your soul. Today, I am unstoppable. I control my thoughts, my emotions, and my destiny. Challenges are fuel, and I rise higher because of them. I am grateful for this day and everything it brings. I create value, impact, and possibility everywhere I go. I am stronger, smarter, and more capable than I was yesterday. This is my time, and I choose to live it fully. Say it like you mean it, because when you declare it every morning, you condition your nervous system to believe it. And when you believe it, you act on it. And when you act on it, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you from creating the life you demand. Your words shape your world, so start your day with power, and the world will have no choice but to respond to the power within you. When we talk about programming the mind, we are talking about one of the most powerful abilities every human being possesses, the ability to shape thoughts before the world does it for them. The mind is like a fertile field. Whatever seeds you plant in it, it will grow. If you plant weeds, doubt, fear, negativity, they will spread quickly. If you plant empowering seeds, confidence, belief, gratitude, they will also grow, but only if you nurture them consistently. Every morning is your reset button, your chance to direct the story you are about to live that day. Think of your mind as the software that runs your entire system. If the code is filled with bugs, errors, and viruses, the program will crash, and so will your day. But if you deliberately install strong, clean, empowering code, the system runs with power, clarity, and purpose. That's why what you speak to yourself when you wake up matters more than what you eat, what you wear, or even what you plan. The first 5 minutes of your day dictate your energy, your focus, and your momentum. The reason this matters so much is because your brain is highly suggestible in the morning. When you first wake up, you are in a state where your subconscious mind is open to influence. This is the moment when the words you choose can either build your future or break it. If you tell yourself, I am tired, I don't feel like it, today is going to be hard, you've already programmed your brain to look for evidence of struggle and limitation. But if you say, I am strong, I am unstoppable, I choose to rise today, then you've instructed your brain to look for evidence of strength, opportunity, and growth. And the brain is a loyal servant. It always finds what you command it to find. Programming the mind is not about ignoring reality, it's about creating a higher reality. Life will throw challenges at you no matter what you say, but the difference lies in how you interpret those challenges. A trained mind programmed with empowering words does not see obstacles as barriers, it sees them as stepping stones. For example, a person who says every morning, challenges are fuel for me, will face the same obstacles as everyone else, but their brain will immediately begin searching for solutions, lessons, and opportunities hidden inside the problem. The same challenge that breaks someone else can become the reason you rise, simply because of the way your mind has been conditioned to process it. Consistency is the secret here. You cannot program your mind once and expect it to stay. Just like a muscle weakens if you don't train it, the mind slips back into fear, doubt, and negativity if you don't reinforce it daily. That is why repeating powerful lines every single morning creates a compound effect. Over time, those words stop being just sentences. They become your identity. You no longer just say, I am unstoppable. You begin to feel unstoppable, act unstoppable, and live unstoppable. And when your actions and identity align, your results follow naturally. This is not just a personal practice, it's also a leadership practice. The way you program your own mind affects how you show up for others. If you wake up disempowered, drained, and reactive, you bring that same energy into your family, your workplace, your relationships. But if you wake up fueled, focused, and ready, you radiate strength that influences everyone around you. People can feel it. They respond differently to you. Opportunities open. Doors you thought were closed suddenly swing wide, not because the world changed, but because you did. So programming the mind is not optional, it's essential. It's not something to do when you feel like it. It's something you must do especially when you don't feel like it. Because in those moments, the very act of declaring powerful words is what transforms your state. Every single morning, you hold the pen and your mind is the blank page. The question is, are you writing a story of weakness and excuses, or are you writing a story of strength, courage, and possibility? The choice is yours, and the choice, repeated daily, becomes your destiny. Identity shaping is one of the most profound outcomes of speaking powerful words to yourself each morning, because everything we do flows from who we believe we are. Human behavior is driven not by what we want occasionally, but by the identity we hold consistently. If someone identifies as lazy, even if they desire success, they will sabotage themselves because their actions must align with who they believe themselves to be. But if someone declares, "I am disciplined, I am focused, I am resilient," and repeats it daily, over time, that belief reshapes their self-image and their behavior follows. The brain craves alignment between words, beliefs, and actions. That's why speaking empowering lines to yourself in the morning is not just motivation. It's transformation at the deepest level. You are not just repeating words, you are sculpting the image of who you are becoming. Think of identity as the root of a tree. The fruits are the results in your life, your career, relationships, health, and achievements. But those fruits are determined by the roots, the identity you hold about yourself. If the roots are weak, no matter how much you water the leaves, the tree will not thrive. Similarly, if your inner identity is rooted in weakness, doubt, or unworthiness, no amount of external effort will create lasting change. But when you begin each morning reinforcing a strong identity, you nourish the roots. You remind yourself, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is how I show up. Over time, your subconscious begins to accept these words as truth, and your actions naturally align with them. This principle explains why so many people start goals with excitement but fail to sustain them. They try to change behavior without changing identity. A smoker who says, "I'm trying to quit," still identifies as a smoker. But the one who says, "I am not a smoker," has shifted their identity, and their actions will reflect that. The same goes for confidence, success, and discipline. If every morning you declare, "I am a leader," you begin to notice leadership opportunities. If you say, "I am a person of discipline," your choices begin to align with that standard. Your words start to filter your reality because your identity shapes what you notice, what you tolerate, and what you pursue. Identity shaping also builds resilience. Life will test you with setbacks, but when your identity is rooted in strength, those setbacks cannot define you. For example, someone who loses a job may collapse if their identity is, "I am a failure." But if their identity is, "I am resourceful, I always find a way," then even the job loss becomes a temporary challenge rather than a permanent label. The daily act of declaring empowering lines makes your identity flexible, strong, and unshakable, no matter the storm outside. Another powerful aspect of identity shaping is influence. People do not follow what you say, they follow who you are. If you consistently program your mind with words that shape you into a confident, disciplined, and grateful person, that identity radiates outward. Others begin to trust you, respect you, and even model themselves after you. Your identity becomes a source of inspiration. By shaping yourself, you indirectly shape the lives of those around you. The process takes consistency because identity is not built in one morning, but through repetition. Every day you repeat those empowering lines, you are laying another brick in the foundation of who you are becoming. Eventually, those words stop being affirmations and become reality. You no longer have to say, "I am disciplined," to remind yourself, because discipline becomes your natural way of living. You no longer struggle to believe, "I am strong," because strength has become your default identity. At its core, identity shaping through morning declarations is about owning the power to decide who you are instead of letting circumstances decide for you. You don't wait for success to call yourself successful. You don't wait for strength to call yourself strong. You declare it now, you embody it daily, and eventually you live it fully. Your identity is the foundation of your destiny, and every morning you have the chance to shape it. Energy activation through words is one of the most underestimated forces in human performance. Every word we speak carries a vibration, and that vibration doesn't just influence our mind, it influences our body and emotions as well. When you wake up in the morning, your energy is not yet fully directed. Your body is transitioning from rest to action, and in that fragile state, what you say to yourself acts like a switch. If your words are weak, your energy stays low. But if your words are strong, your physiology responds instantly. The heartbeat rises, your breathing deepens, your posture shifts, and suddenly your body is aligned with power. That is why champions, leaders, and peak performers begin their mornings with declarations that activate their state. They understand that energy is not something you wait to feel, it is something you generate deliberately. Think about the moments when someone has said something negative to you. Even if it was just a few words, it immediately drained your mood and energy. Now reverse that. Imagine the impact of deliberately flooding your own mind and body with words of power, gratitude, and strength. I am unstoppable, when spoken with intensity, is not just a phrase, it is a command that awakens every cell in your body. I am grateful for this day. Instantly lifts your emotional energy because gratitude changes your focus from what is missing to what is abundant. I am stronger today than I was yesterday. Creates momentum, reminding your nervous system that progress is already happening. Words don't just describe reality, they shape it by shifting the energy you carry into the day. This is why rituals matter so much. Saying empowering lines passively, like reading from a piece of paper without emotion, has little impact. But when you combine words with energy, standing tall, breathing deeply, projecting your voice, you activate a physiological shift. The body believes what the voice repeatedly declares with power. If you slouch and whisper, "I am confident," the message doesn't register deeply. But if you throw your shoulders back, speak with conviction, and engage your emotions, suddenly your mind accepts it as truth. This is the essence of energy activation. It is not just about saying the words, it is about embodying them fully so they rewire your state in real time. Another reason energy activation is so powerful is because state determines behavior. A low energy state makes you procrastinate, doubt yourself, and shrink back from opportunities. A high energy state makes you decisive, creative, and bold. The difference between seizing a chance and missing it often has less to do with skill and more to do with the state you are in when the moment arrives. By activating your energy every morning with strong declarations, you prime yourself to enter the day at peak state rather than waiting for external factors to lift you. You don't hope for motivation, you create it. Energy is also contagious. When you activate your own energy through words, you don't just impact yourself, you influence everyone around you. Walk into a room drained, quiet, and uncertain, and people feel it instantly. Walk in charged, certain, and alive, and the atmosphere changes without you saying a single extra word. This is why leaders must master energy activation. It's not only about personal performance, but also about transmitting energy that inspires others to rise. The words you speak to yourself in private determine the energy you project in public. The beauty of this practice is that it compounds. The more consistently you activate your energy with words every morning, the more your baseline energy shifts upward. Over time, you stop needing external motivation because your internal programming is so strong. You begin to live at a higher vibration naturally. What used to feel forced becomes effortless because your nervous system has been conditioned to respond to empowering language. Your words no longer just change your mornings, they change your entire identity and the way you experience life. Ultimately, energy activation through words is a choice. Every morning, you stand at a crossroads. You can let your energy be random, dictated by circumstances, moods, or outside opinions. Or you can take command, use your words as fuel, and ignite the power that already exists within you. One choice leaves you reactive and drained. The other makes you proactive, alive, and unstoppable. And the difference begins with the very first words you speak when you open your eyes. Resilience building through daily affirmations is about training your mind to bounce back stronger every time life pushes you down. No matter who you are, challenges will come. Disappointments, failures, rejections, unexpected obstacles. These experiences can either crush your spirit or build your strength. And the deciding factor is not the challenge itself, but how your mind interprets it. When you repeat empowering lines every morning, you are rehearsing resilience before you even need it. You are programming your inner voice to respond with strength rather than weakness. Instead of hearing, "I can't do this," in moments of stress, you hear, "I rise higher because of this." Instead of believing this setback defines me, you believe this is temporary and I am stronger than this moment. That shift in inner dialogue is what resilience truly is, the ability to keep moving forward no matter what. Resilience is not built in the moment of crisis. It is built in the daily conditioning of the mind. If a person waits until they are already in pain to decide how they will respond, they are at the mercy of their emotions. But if they have been speaking to themselves with power every morning, they already have mental armor in place when the challenge arrives. Saying, "I control my emotions and my destiny," daily may feel simple when life is calm, but in the middle of a storm, those words become a shield. The subconscious remembers them, the nervous system responds, and instead of collapsing, the person finds a way through. This is why athletes, soldiers, and leaders train their mindset daily, because resilience is a muscle, and it grows only when exercised consistently. Another dimension of resilience building is perspective. People who lack resilience see setbacks as permanent and personal. They say, "This always happens to me," or "I am not good enough." But those who train their mind through affirmations view setbacks as feedback and stepping stones. By declaring, "Challenges are fuel for me," you reframe difficulty as an opportunity to grow. Your brain then scans every situation looking for lessons instead of limitations. A failed attempt becomes practice, rejection becomes redirection, and loss becomes learning. This perspective shift not only makes you mentally tougher, but also keeps you emotionally balanced, because you stop internalizing failure as identity and start seeing it as part of the process. Resilience is also about emotional recovery speed. Everyone gets knocked down, but the resilient get back up faster. Morning declarations accelerate recovery because they anchor you in a strong identity before anything happens. When life delivers a blow, your mind does not linger in the wound. It remembers your words and begins to search for the next step forward. This is why some people collapse for weeks after a failure, while others rebound in hours. It's not luck, it's the result of conditioning. By speaking resilience into yourself daily, you shorten the gap between setback and comeback. There is also a ripple effect. A resilient person doesn't just protect their own future, they inspire others in their circle. When your family, friends, or team sees you handle adversity with strength, it gives them permission to believe they can too. Resilience spreads. Your personal declarations don't only build your mind, they create a culture of strength around you. This is why leaders must train resilience daily, because people are watching, and your response to adversity sets the tone for how others respond. Over time, the practice of daily affirmations transforms resilience from something you strive for into something that feels natural. At first, it may feel forced to say, "I rise higher because of challenges," but after weeks and months of repetition, your subconscious accepts it as truth. When a challenge comes, you don't even need to think, you automatically rise. That is when resilience stops being just a word and becomes who you are. Life will never stop testing you. But when you condition your mind each morning with powerful, resilient words, you take control of how you will respond before the test arrives. And that decision makes all the difference. You stop being the person who merely survives adversity and become the one who grows stronger because of it. That is the true power of resilience building. Consistency effect is the silent force that transforms small daily actions into extraordinary long-term results. Most people underestimate the power of what they do every morning because they look for instant changes. They say a few affirmations, feel a spark of motivation, and then wonder why their entire life hasn't changed in a week. But the truth is, the mind works like the body. It requires repetition, discipline, and time. Just as you cannot go to the gym once and expect lasting strength, you cannot program your mind with empowering words once and expect permanent transformation. The magic lies in consistency. When you declare powerful lines every single morning, day after day, something begins to shift inside you at a subconscious level. Those words sink deeper, they rewire old patterns, and they eventually create a new identity that no longer needs forcing. The brain is wired for habits. Neuroscience shows that repetition strengthens neural pathways. At first, speaking affirmations may feel unnatural or even fake because your current identity and habits are still pulling you in the opposite direction. But with daily consistency, the brain begins to accept new beliefs as familiar. The lines you speak every morning stop being something you're trying to convince yourself of and start becoming the lens through which you view reality. For example, if every day you say, "I am a person of discipline," at first it may feel uncomfortable if you've struggled with discipline before, but over time, your mind begins to crave alignment between your words and your actions. You naturally start making choices that reflect discipline because your subconscious now sees it as part of who you are. That alignment between repetition and behavior is where transformation happens. Consistency also creates momentum. Doing something powerful once might inspire you for a moment, but doing it every day builds a compounding effect. Each repetition adds to the one before it, like stacking bricks in a wall. One brick by itself doesn't mean much, but when you place brick after brick without fail, you eventually build a fortress. In the same way, each time you declare empowering words in the morning, you strengthen your mental fortress. Over weeks and months, you become unshakable because your identity, energy, and resilience have been fortified through daily repetition. The momentum created by this consistency doesn't just influence your mornings, it spills over into every area of your life. You start becoming consistent in your work, your health, your relationships, because the habit of daily discipline carries into everything you do. Another key aspect of consistency is trust. When you keep a promise to yourself every morning, even something as small as repeating 7 powerful lines, you build self-trust. You prove to yourself that you follow through. Over time, this inner trust becomes confidence. You no longer rely on external motivation because you know you can depend on yourself to show up every day. That self-trust is one of the greatest gifts of consistency. It eliminates self-doubt and replaces it with certainty. Consistency also creates contrast. While others start and stop, while others get excited for a few days and then quit, your daily commitment sets you apart. Life rewards those who persist when others give up. The world notices consistency because it's rare. People begin to respect you, opportunities begin to open, and results begin to multiply, not because you did something grand once, but because you did something small consistently. That's the compound effect, the principle that little actions repeated over time create massive outcomes. At its core, the consistency effect is about patience and faith. You may not see the results immediately, but every repetition is planting seeds. Just because you don't see growth above the surface doesn't mean roots aren't forming below it. The day will come when the results break through visibly, and people will call it sudden success. But you will know the truth. It wasn't sudden. It was the result of countless mornings when you chose to speak power into your life, even when it felt ordinary. That daily choice, repeated without fail, is what turns potential into reality. Consistency is not flashy, but it is unstoppable. And if you commit to it every morning, it will reshape your entire destiny. Leadership mindset begins with the way you lead yourself before you ever influence another person. Too many people think leadership is about titles, positions, or authority, but true leadership is about energy, character, and the example you set. Every morning when you speak powerful lines to yourself, you are not just preparing for your personal success, you are shaping the way you will lead others throughout the day. Leadership is contagious. The way you think, the way you feel, and the way you show up affects everyone around you. If you start your day in weakness, doubt, or negativity, that energy will leak into your interactions, and people will feel it. But if you begin with conviction, gratitude, and strength, you radiate confidence, and people naturally follow your lead. Leadership is not something you turn on when you enter a meeting or face a challenge. It begins the moment you wake up and decide how you will lead yourself. The lines you speak every morning are not just affirmations, they are leadership commands. Saying, "I create value everywhere I go," is not only a statement about your day, it is a declaration of responsibility. Leaders don't wait for opportunities to serve, they generate them. When you remind yourself daily that you are a source of impact, you begin looking for ways to contribute, solve problems, and uplift others. This mindset transforms ordinary situations into opportunities for influence. Even a casual conversation becomes a chance to inspire because you have already programmed yourself to lead with intention. Leadership mindset also requires emotional mastery. People don't follow those who are easily shaken, reactive, or consumed by negativity. They follow those who can stay centered under pressure. By declaring every morning, "I control my thoughts, my emotions, and my destiny," you are practicing the discipline of emotional leadership. You are training yourself not to be a slave to moods or circumstances, but to set the emotional tone deliberately. This self-mastery is what makes people trust you. They see stability in you, and stability is magnetic. Another critical aspect of leadership is vision. Leaders see what others cannot yet see, and they help others believe in it too. Morning declarations strengthen your vision by reminding you daily of who you are becoming and what you are building. When you say, "This is my time and I choose to live it fully," you are reinforcing urgency and purpose. That energy translates into the way you speak, the way you make decisions, and the way you inspire others to take action. Leadership is not about forcing people to move. It is about embodying so much clarity and conviction that others want to move with you. The leadership mindset you build every morning also sets the standard for accountability. When you keep your word to yourself, you demonstrate integrity and people can sense it. If you are disciplined enough to start each day with intentional declarations, you are more likely to follow through on promises to others. Consistency in private builds credibility in public. People don't follow leaders because of what they say. They follow because of the consistency between words and actions. Your morning ritual of speaking power into yourself is one of the simplest yet most profound ways to align your actions with your values. Finally, the leadership mindset is about influence beyond yourself. Every day you interact with people who are silently watching how you live. They may never tell you, but your energy, words, and actions leave an impression. When you begin each day by leading yourself with power, you create ripples that extend far beyond you. Your courage gives others permission to be courageous. Your discipline inspires others to raise their standards. Your resilience reminds others that they too can overcome. Leadership is not about one big moment on a stage. It is about the countless small moments when your presence shifts the atmosphere. In the end, leadership mindset is the natural result of daily self-leadership. You cannot pour strength into others if you wake up empty. You cannot inspire others if you start your day disempowered. But when you discipline yourself to declare powerful lines every morning, you fill your own cup first, and then you overflow into the lives of others. That is what makes you a true leader, not the position you hold, but the person you choose to be every single day.